Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm just stating for the record, I am filming this on July 29th, 2020. So if I post this like sometime in September, I'm a failure. Today I am going to be talking about the things I wish I knew before I went to UWC. So for those of you who don't know, I started at UWC Isaac Japan in 2019. I just finished my first year and I'm going on to my grade 12 year very soon. The summer between first year and second year of UWC is kind of an important time because it's when you get to reflect on your whole UWC life up to this point, and you get to really make a lot of decisions about how you want your final year to look. So I've been thinking a lot about what it's been like to be at a UWC and the things I did last year and the things I want to do this year. And part of that includes things I wish I had known before even starting the experience. So without further ado, here are the 6 things I wish I knew before going to UWC. Number 1 is that the first day, the first week, the first month does not define your experience. And that applies to a lot. That applies to the people you hang out with, it applies to the rumors that are going around, it applies to the things you're interested in. Whatever you define yourself as when you first get to UWC does not have to define the rest of your experience there. UWC is a place where people are constantly changing and evolving, and part of that is, changing your interests, changing your friend groups, developing, growing. So it's totally okay if you started hanging out with a couple people when you first got there, and then you realize that you want to hang out with more people, or you weren't hanging out with someone and you get closer later in the year. That is very much a normal thing that happens at a UWC. Same thing goes for clubs. If you were super passionate about something when you started and then you realize that your passions lie somewhere else, that's fine. You don't have to stay the same. I think that one thing that really held me back was the friend thing, because I'm very awkward around people. And so I didn't really know how to make friends after orientation week, and so there were so many people that I never really talked to just because I didn't make that connection during orientation week. So just know that whatever happens in orientation week is great, it's going to be a lot of fun, but that's not the be-all end-all of UWC. You still have 2 years ahead of you that are going to look completely different. Number 2, you don't have to be best friends with everyone, but you should try to talk to everyone. This applies to number 1. UWC isn't just like the public school that you're going to because of where you live. Everyone who is going to UWC applied and worked very hard to get here, which means that everyone at a UWC is really interesting and has a really cool story and is probably going to do really cool things in their life. So if you spend your whole UWC experience with 3 people, you're kind of wasting your time, because there are so many people at that school that you want to get to know, you want to meet, that you should be talking to and learning their stories, getting to know them. So even if you're not best friends with everyone, always try to get to know new people. When you're sitting at lunch, sit with people you haven't talked to before. If you're standing in line with someone, start up a conversation. It's really, really simple, but at every point in time, just keep trying to meet new people, push your comfort zone. Don't just talk to the people you met during orientation week. I know this is going back to the first point, but it's so important that you talk to everyone there, because everyone there has something new to bring to the table, and if you just spend your time in your comfort zone, then you're not really taking the risks that you should be. Number 4, get to know your teachers. They are really cool people. I'm always nervous to talk to my teachers because they're adults and they're professionals, but the teachers at UWC, just like the students, are really, really, really cool people. If you don't talk to them, then you are missing out, because if they're teaching at a UWC, they did something pretty cool to teach at a UWC. Most of them have traveled, most of them have done really interesting projects, most of them have just good stories and good philosophies and good opinions to share, and they're so warm and welcoming. Remember, most teachers that teach at UWC live on campus, which means this isn't just their job, this is their life. Just like for you, UWC isn't just your school, it's your life. So give the teachers that community sense as well. Don't just treat your teachers like the person teaching you math. Treat your teachers like part of your community. Invite them to events, talk to them, sit down with them at lunch, all those things, because your teachers are not just there for the classroom. They're there for so much more, and I really wish that I had gotten to know some of my teachers better last year, because they're all really, really cool people. Number 4, you definitely have some internalized homophobia, misogyny, racism, whatever inside of you that you are going to have to confront when you get to a UWC. I think people are really afraid to admit that they could be racist, that they could be sexist, that they could be any of that, because no one ever sees themselves as the bad guy. But the truth is, wherever you've grown up, you have been coded according to that culture. You have grown up knowing certain truths. And when you are put into an international setting where everyone has grown up with different truths, with different cultures, there's going to be some clashing there. There's going to be different beliefs, and you're going to realize that a lot of what you thought was true was wrong. You're going to realize that you have internalized prejudices about certain people or groups of people that you don't even know why they're there. They've just been there your whole life and you've never had to confront them. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a mean person. It just means that those are things that you're going to have to consciously think about at UWC and deconstruct them and rework your brain to unlearn all of that stuff that you've been conditioned to know since you were little. There have been times where I have accidentally offended my friend, where I have said something that I shouldn't have said, where I've thought something I shouldn't have thought, and I've kind of been like, oh my gosh, that was racist, or oh my gosh, that was whatever, right? So realize that, recognize that, and then spend your time at UWC working through that. Don't just be content with where you are. Don't hold fast and be defensive. Just welcome that, welcome the uncomfortableness, and learn and grow as a person, because that's what UWC is all about. Number 5, say yes to absolutely everything. There's going to be so many opportunities at UWCs for conferences, for volunteer opportunities, for trips, and you need to take advantage of every opportunity you can get your hands on. I did that a lot last year, but there were still opportunities that I missed. There's still things I didn't get to do, either because I was too scared to fill out an application, or I didn't read the newsletter on time, or I wasn't up to date on certain events. You need to be on top of things. You need to be aware of what's going on, because chances are you're going to be in a new country, you're going to be with a bunch of people you don't know. There's going to be a lot of chances to have really cool once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and you don't want to miss out on that. And number 6, do not let IB consume you. UWCs are IB schools. You will be under a lot of pressure for most of your time there. There's going to be a lot of schoolwork, a lot of homework, a lot of tests and projects, and but you want to make sure that that doesn't become the focus of your experience. UWC is a great education, but it's so much more than that. And if you just focus on the education, then you're missing half of the experience. Some of the learning happens in the classroom, but most of the learning doesn't. Of course, challenge yourself. Of course, try to get good grades. Of course, that matters for university, but also keep in mind the opportunity you have in front of you, and keep in mind the people that you're with and the teachers or people. Keep in mind all of this, because if you just let IB become the thing that you're consumed by, then you're going to miss over half of the experience. And that applies to your mental state too. If you're always stressed, if you're always worried, then you're not going to be living your experience to the fullest. So I hope you enjoyed those tips. It was a really, oh my god, that's the quickest video I've ever filmed. I'm at 10 minutes right now. Wow, I'm getting good. I had better lighting for this video, which I'm happy about, because my last video, which I actually really like, had terrible lighting because I filmed it outside and the sun was setting, and it just gets progressively darker. But it's still a great video if you want to watch it. It's all about my favorite memories at UWC for my first year, so check that out. I don't know how the YouTubers do that like suggestion thing, but I'll link it in the description below. And yeah,